What if I told you that one of the most profound philosophies of life wasn't hidden away in some dense ancient book, but in a few short lines about punctuation? Yeah, I know, it sounds a little unlikely, but stick with me because today we're going to break down a simple little text that does exactly that, and it reveals a really powerful way to look at the world. Okay, so this is it. This is the entire piece of text we're talking about. It starts off by just completely dismissing commas, periods, colons, and semicolons. It says, I don't use them. What even are they? And then, just like that, it pivots. It declares this love for question marks and exclamation points, and then wraps it all up with this incredible statement. Life is about question marks. At first glance, it just seems cryptic, right? But trust me, there is a surprisingly deep philosophy hiding in here. All right, so the whole thing kicks off with this really powerful act of rejection. It's targeting the very symbols that we use to create structure and order in our language. But this isn't really about grammar. No, this is a statement about a whole way of living. Just think for a second about what's being thrown out here. On one side, you've got your commas and periods. These are the symbols that make us pause, that regulate the pace. And on the other, you have colons and semicolons, the connectors, the things that build these logical, totally predictable relationships between ideas. So together, they really represent structured, orderly, by-the-book thinking. Then we get the core of the rejection, a blunt, flat-out dismissal. I don't use them. There's no negotiation there. It's just a simple refusal to play by the rules that have been set. And the rejection goes even deeper with this rhetorical question, what even are they? Now, this isn't a real question, obviously. It's a way of saying that these symbols have become so meaningless, so totally irrelevant, that their whole purpose has just been forgotten. So you see, this first part isn't just about punctuation. It's a rejection of a life that's defined by rigid structure, by arbitrary rules, and by that constant pressure to conform. It's really a statement against living your life strictly by the book. And this is where everything changes. After tearing down that whole old system, the text starts building a new one. The tone shifts, completely, from this flat dismissal to a really wholehearted embrace. The focus moves entirely to question marks and exclamation points. You can just feel the energy change instantly, can't you? These are not symbols of order. They are symbols of raw emotion and deep inquiry. And in total contrast to what we saw before, the text now declares, I use them. This isn't passive at all. It's a confident, conscious choice. It's an active decision to embrace a brand new way of being. And it doesn't just stop there. The commitment is total, a lot. This isn't some moderate, halfway adoption. No, this is a passionate, all-in embrace of a much more expressive way of communicating and of living. So, what does this new punctuation really represent? Well, instead of structure and rules, we now have things like curiosity, surprise, passion, inquiry, and excitement. It's a fundamental shift from a life that is neatly organized and predictable to one that's vibrant, questioning, and just full of feeling. Okay, so this brings us to the climax of the whole text, where the metaphor is finally made explicit. This is the moment where a simple observation about punctuation becomes this powerful statement about the very nature of our existence. The text poses the ultimate question, doesn't it? It sets us up for its grand conclusion. What is life really all about? And the answer is just two symbols, a question mark and an exclamation point, together. The philosophy here is that life isn't just about questions, and it's not just about exciting moments. It's about the combination of the two. It's about living in a state of constant, excited inquiry, that thrill of the unknown fused with the pure joy of discovery. And get this, that symbol actually has a name, the interrobang. It was invented back in the 1960s to capture that exact blend of surprised inquiry in a single mark. Now, whether the author of our text knew that term or not, who knows? But they perfectly captured its spirit. And then the text ends with this one single word, avalok. Is it a name, a signature, maybe a concept? The text doesn't tell us, and it leaves us with one final mystery, one last little question mark to ponder. So, at the end of the day, we're left with this really compelling thought. This text suggests a life of interrobang, of excited questioning. And it makes you wonder, right? If you had to choose just one punctuation mark to represent your own philosophy of life, what would it be? A steady, predictable period? A semicolon, always connecting things logically? Or maybe something else entirely?